right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the final part of the show, we're going to now get into talking about the Vikings Bears matchup tonight, as well as the Falcons Raiders. We got a doubleheader tonight, ESPN and ABC, so you don't have to worry about having to get an app or no. Both of these games will be on TV, but they will be on around the same time. So the Bears and the Vikings, they'll kick off at 8 p.m. Eastern time on ABC, and then Falcons Raiders, that'll kick off at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. So it's big game tonight for the Vikings and the Falcons, so they can keep pace with the teams in their division. If the Vikings win, they could tie the Lions at the top of the NFC North. If the Falcons win, they could at least keep pace with the Buccaneers, who just are not losing now. We'll talk about their game tomorrow because I was surprised by a little bit surprised by their performance. I wasn't that surprised that they won. It was just how they won against the Chargers, because I thought that was going to be a more competitive game. It was for a little bit, but then the Buccaneers pulled away. But let's go through each game. So the Vikings and the Bears, they played each other back on November 24th. And, the Vikings, they were winning by a lot in that game. And then the Bears, they scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. They had them recover an onside kick to tie the game. They ended up losing to the Vikings in overtime 30-27. So, the Bears, they have not won a game since October 13th. And they let Matt Eberflus go. And, we saw last week, the defense just couldn't stop anything against the 49ers. And they're 4-9. And they're 7-point underdogs in this game. Sam Darnold, he has played really well. We talked about him last week, what the Vikings might do with him at the end of the season. Again, let's see how he does towards the end of the season here and into the playoffs. Because, if he plays really well, the Vikings, let's say if the Vikings won the Super Bowl, I think might have to keep Sam Darnold next year. But I still think it's incomplete right now. We got to see how he does here, this final stretch and into the playoffs. And then I think, we'll get a good sense on what the Vikings should do. But, yeah, tonight, look, the Bears, their season's over. They have a lot of talent on this team, and I do think that they'll at least put together a better performance than they did last week against the Niners. But right now the Vikings are playing really good football. And Sam Darnold, he struggled a little bit during the year, but now he's kind of playing how he played at the beginning of the season. He has not thrown an interception since November 10th. Since the Jaguars game, all right, he has thrown 11 touchdowns to no picks. He has been on fire. And last week, he's coming off of a 5-touchdown performance against the Falcons. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison both had big games in that contest. And I expect this Vikings offense to have a good performance tonight. The Bears, it's been a challenging season for them. And I think next year, if they can get the right head coach, this could be a team that could make the playoffs. I thought they could make the playoffs possibly this year. I didn't have them making it, but I thought maybe they could because of the talent, and I thought Caleb Williams would get better as the years has gone on. And to an extent he has, but it's just, it hasn't resulted in wins. They've lost a lot of close games where, they're 4-9. They could be, let's say 7-7, and they're right there. It's just, that's just not how it's been. And they got to find the right head coach for Caleb Williams. Because I do think Caleb Williams, what he has shown at times this year, he is definitely the guy. But you got to make sure that, you surround them with the right talent, and I think they have. Because there are some good offensive players on this team. I don't know what's going to happen with Keenan Allen after the season. I don't know if they're gonna keep him. They might. But, Rome Odunze, he was good at least last week for them against the 49ers, had a couple of touchdowns. D.J.Moore, these last couple weeks, he's been looking good. Actually, I don't think he had he didn't have a big game against the Niners, but he's been doing better. Since they made the change from by letting go of Shane Waldron as the offensive coordinator, D.J.Moore has been better. But we'll see what happens. But I expect the Vikings to win this game tonight. Sam Darnold is playing some really good football right now. I'm going to say that the Vikings win. I think they put up 30 points. I think the final score is like 31-20, something like that. Um, with them being at home, and again, Sam Darnold is playing really good right now. I like the Vikings in this spot and get themselves to 12-2. Now, would it surprise me if this game is close? No, because the Bears got embarrassed last week. And maybe they play a little bit better here, or maybe they just mailed it in. Maybe Matt Eberflus is gone. They're kind of just like, all right, let's just get to the end of the season. But I do worry about Caleb Williams a little bit in this game, just because the Vikings offense or the Vikings defense can definitely get after him, and that offensive line for the Bears has not been great. That is also another area where they need to improve, is the offensive line. So we'll see what happens. But I like the Vikings to win by a couple of scores, and tie the lines for the division. And then for the second game here, we got the Falcons and the Raiders. Now, the Raiders will be without Max Crosby. He's getting surgery. He is going to be out for the rest of the season. I think he's getting surgery. I think it was, what was it, on his ankle? Hold on. But he's going to be out for the rest of the year. And look, the Falcons have just not been playing well. Kirk Cousins has not been playing well. Yeah, season-ending ankle surgery for Max Crosby. So at least Kirk Cousins is not going to have to deal with him. Also, I don't know what the status is. Another player is Aiden O'Connell. Is he going to start tonight, or is it going to be Desmond Ridder? Right now, I think it's still up in the air as to who is going to be the starter. Because it looked like Aiden O'Connell was possibly going to be out for the year, and then all of a sudden it was, no, he might actually be able to play for this game. So still hasn't practiced, still questionable for the game tonight. So if it's not Aiden O'Connell, it's going to end up being Desmond Ridder, who used to play for the Falcons. So could we possibly see a Desmond Ridder revenge game? We'll have to wait and see. But I think the Falcons, they should win this game tonight. They should win this game tonight. The Raiders, you lost Max Crosby. I mean, Kirk Cousins should be able to have a good day against this banged-up Raiders defense without their best player. I think Bijan Robinson should have a big game tonight. He's had a great season for them. This, I think, is a get-right game for them. But you never know, because Kirk Cousins has not been great. He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in quite some time. It's been a tough year for him. It's been a tough year for him, and we'll see what happens. Look, the Falcons can still salvage their season. Their season's not over by any means. They kind of have a soft finish to their schedule here with the Raiders. You got the Giants coming up. I mean, the Commanders is going to be a tough game, and then you got the Panthers to finish up the year. So, they could go out there and win out. You have the talent to do it. In these final 4 games here. I think they should definitely win tonight, though. And the Falcons defense, this could be a get-right game for them. Really what they have to key on is Brock Bowers and try to get some of these other players to beat. I mean, Jacoby Myers, he's a good receiver, but, I don't look at him as, like an elite receiver. Brock Bowers is the guy that the Falcons defense has to key in on. Let these other guys beat you. And also in the running game, Raiders have not run the football well this year. So, I'm curious to see how they come out tonight. But, I mean, this is a game I think the Falcons should win pretty easily. Maybe it's like a 27-10 game or 27-13, something like that. I think Kirk Cousins will throw a touchdown pass tonight. I think he has to. I mean, if he doesn't, if the Falcons lose this game, then I think you really got to consider maybe moving off of Kirk Cousins. And that might be a bit of an overreaction. But if Kirk Cousins goes out there and plays poorly against a banged-up Raiders defense, and Desmond Ridder's possibly the starting quarterback, then I think you really got to consider hey, Michael Penix is going to be the starter next year. Or maybe even right now. I mean, if the Falcons got eliminated from playoff contention with a game to go, then maybe you start Michael Penix. But I don't know. They're still in it. The Falcons are still in it. If they could pick up a win tonight, you get back to 500, and then you go from there. But I'm curious to see how Kirk Cousins plays tonight. Because, again, it's also on the road. Anything can happen. But if he plays poorly tonight, it's not good. It's not good. But I expect the Falcons to win. I think they cover. But we'll see. The Falcons defense, like I said, you got to, take Brock Bowers out of the game, do the best you can at limiting him because he's had an incredible rookie season, and try to get some of these other guys to beat you. So let me know what you guys think, though. But yeah, so I have the Vikings winning and I have the Falcons winning. So, and I think most people probably have that too. But we'll see what happens tonight. Because again, the opposite could happen. Probably the opposite will happen with the spread pool because I got the Vikings covering and the Falcons covering. The Bears I could see covering that 7-point spread. The Raiders just, they're too banged up. But, Kirk Cousins hasn't played well. And crazier things have happened. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, though. Let me know what you guys think, though. Who do you have winning these matchups? Let me know in the comments. That is pretty much it for the show for today. Again, apologize for the technical issues beforehand. It was a small setback. It ended up not really being a big deal, but that usually doesn't happen. So that's happened, a couple times since I started doing this, but not that often. It's pretty rare. So, yeah, no, another week in the NFL has come and gone. We also got the college football playoffs starting this week. We'll get into the rest of the Week 15 slate tomorrow. We'll talk about some of the other games I didn't get to. We'll talk about the Dolphins-Texans game. Actually get into talking about the Jets a little bit because they made some news, but they also picked up a win yesterday. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about the Buccaneers. We'll recap these games as well. Yeah, so we got some stuff on tap for tomorrow. So make sure to tune in for that. But yeah, make sure to check out all the other shows as well. And leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the video. And as always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day. Enjoy the games tonight, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.